Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another session of Singapore International Dynamic Speakers. It's great to have you all here with us today. Today, the theme is about leadership style. How often have you sat, reflect, and think about the type of leader you are? Do you even consider yourself a leader? How often have you been in a leadership role, whether in school, at work, or at home? We all, at one point or the other, are in a leadership role, whether it's a group project or you're building your house and giving the contractor instructions on how you want it built. But what style of leader are you? Are you authoritative? Do you believe you're the smartest person in the room and everyone should do as you tell them because you know best? I believe that's an outdated leadership style. Back when Henry Ford was starting the industrial age building cars, yes, I can see where an authoritative leadership style comes into play. Putting together the assembly line and telling each person what it is that they need to do for him to build his cars, his automobiles. A leadership style works great then and similar situations. If you have new employees and you don't have time to bring them up to speed, you may need to be an authoritative leader to get results, to get things done. But it's not always the best leadership style, especially in today's world, where everything is dynamic and fluid. Our world today deals mainly with creativity and taking initiative, which brings us to the assertive leader, the leader who has visionary, who is a visionary, who has a vision of what needs to be accomplished. This assertive leader shares his vision with his team and explains to them what their role is in accomplishing this vision. He makes his vision their vision. And this leader is a leader who motivates, galvanizes, and accomplishes goals depending on the situation. Yes, being assertive is sometimes seen as aggressive, but when you need to get results, there are times when you will need to be an assertive leader. Then you have the pace setter. The pace setter is similar to running a race. The guy out in front setting the pace, keep up or get left behind. When you need to get results quickly, you may need to be a pace setter. You may need to be the person pushing the team, leading the team, encouraging the team to work faster, work better, work smarter. However, this is only good in short term. You cannot have your team going all out for an extended period of time because they become burned out. They become disenchanted. There are times when, as a pace setter, you will need to let the air out of the tires, relax, breathe, reflect on the accomplishments so far. You cannot be a pace setter indefinitely. Which brings us to the democratic leader. This is the leader who gets feedback from everyone. How do you think about it? What do you think about it? How do you think we should do it? He gets feedback from everyone and goes with the most popular opinion or with the most popular suggestion. There are times when being democratic is essential to accomplishing your task and your goal, especially when you don't have all the information and you need to pool resources from others. Yes, then be democratic. Get everyone input. However, democratic leaders are often seen as wishy-washy, flip-floppers, because they simply go along with what the popular suggestion is at the moment. This may not always be good because at times it will erode confidence in you from your team. Your team will lose confidence in you if you do not have a vision, if you do not have a plan, and if you're just getting ideas from everyone else. So be careful when you choose to be a democratic leader. Then you have the laissez-faire leader. Personally, if I'm on a marketing project, I'm a laissez-faire leader. I like to encourage creativity in those situations. Let everyone do their thing and let's see what we come up with. You assign it out to everyone else. You let everyone take the lead. You're a laissez-faire leader and you go along with whatever will bring the best result. This type of leadership style can be detrimental because it can be seen as though the inmates have run of the institution. You don't want the inmates controlling the prison. You don't want the soldiers telling the general what to do. So be careful when you choose to be a laissez-faire leader. Always have a plan, always have a vision. Next, we look at the, lost my train of thought, apologies. Finally, we have to decide what type of leadership style works best in whatever situation we are in. I encourage you all not to be entrenched in one specific leadership style, but to be dynamic, to be flexible, to be able to adapt, assess your situation, and choose the leadership style that works best for that situation. There are times when you will need to be autocratic. There are times when you need to be assertive. There are times when you need to be democratic. There are times when laissez-faire will come into play. But you must be careful when choosing your leadership style. And at all times, I encourage you, do not be entrenched in just one leadership style. There are times when you'll be out in front, setting the pace. There are times when you will be in the background, leading from the rear. Be careful in choosing your leadership style, as your style will ultimately dictate success or failure. And if you fail, learn from it and make adaptations, make corrections. Your leadership style is something that you will perfect over time. You ultimately might be a composite of several different types of leadership styles. Learn them all, add them to your repertoire, and use them effectively. Do not, I repeat again, do not become entrenched in one type of leadership style. Do not say, well, I'm a democratic leader and only be democratic. There are times when you'll need to be assertive. There is time when you'll need to be a pace setter, and there is time when you will need to be democratic or even authoritative. Choose wisely. Assess the situation and choose the leadership style that best suits that situation. Toastmasters and guests, welcome again to another session of Singapore International Dynamic Speakers. Looking forward to having a great meeting with you all today. Toastmasters and guests, at times I have been very authoritative, much to the dismay of my team members. There are times when I thought I was the smartest person in the room. And personally, I did not like those situations. I do not enjoy being the smartest person in the room. I like to be in a room where I can learn from everyone in the room. There are times when I know I do not have all the information and I must pull opinion from others. I must get advice from others. Being able to admit that you do not know it all is not a weakness. It's a strength. It allows you an opportunity to learn. When you become entrenched in believing that you know it all and do not want to ask for help or do not want to ask for advice, you will more likely fail because you do not have all the information or resources at your disposal. Always be willing to ask for advice, ask for suggestion. There is nothing wrong with it. And if you are ever in a leadership position, have a vision of what you ultimately want to achieve. Share your vision with your team. find an avenue where your vision becomes their vision, where they would want to accomplish what you have set out to accomplish. Share your vision with your team at all times. And remember, success is never singular. It is always plural. We all see Jeff Bezos as Amazon, as one of the richest men in the world, but he has tens of thousands of people working with him. So his billions, he did not make it all on his own. He made it with the help of many others. So did Bill Gates. So did Elon Musk. No matter who the person is, there is always a team behind them. So be willing to use your team and incorporate the leadership style that will get the best results. Take a moment before we go into our table topic session. Reflect on yourself. How many times have you been in a leadership role? What style did you incorporate? Food for thought. And now we have with us a guest, Abu Gimba. He is in transit, but if he can take a moment and tell us how he came to be with us today. Abu?
Yes. Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Edward. Actually arrived at my destination. I can switch on my video. Can you see me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So I am what you would say a regular guest. This is probably like my maybe 7th, 8th, it could be the 10th time I'm visiting actually. I love SGI Dynamics, right? You guys are amazing. So I have the invites. Every week I get the invites. So I had an opportunity to speak today and I thought I would pick a slot. And ever since then, I was looking forward to it and I'm glad it's here today. So I would say I am regular as far as we are concerned. Thank you.
So glad to have you again with us, Abu. And now we go into one of my favorite sections of the meeting, the table topic section. And to lead us with that, we have our very own, very capable Toastmaster Anya. Toastmaster Anya, the floor is yours.
Hi. So today's table topics theme is success. Sorry, not success. Finding your leadership style. I went back to the previous one because it was so awesome. And I'll need a timer, I think. I'm not sure who had volunteered to be the timer.
I will be your timer today, and yeah, I'll be your timer today.
Okay, great. So I'd request all of us here to pin Edward so that you can see the timer going green and yellow and red. So green is when your 1 minute is up, which is the minimum time that you need to spend in speaking about that specific topic. And it goes yellow when 1.5 minutes are up, and it goes red when 2 minutes are up. And when it goes red, you need to start wrapping up so that you are able to finish within the 2.5 minute mark. So these are the rules, very simple. And in line with the theme of choosing your leadership style, I have picked out a few questions. So who wants to go first? I think I'm the democratic type of leader, so I do not want to pick anyone. So if you could volunteer, that would be great.
I don't mind going first, Anya.
Thank you, Edward. So my topic for you today is, who is the best manager that you have come across and why? Manager or leader? Who is the best manager you have come across and why?
Topic master, fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I remember my first job ever. I was 13 years old and my allowance was $1 a day. I had $7 for the week, but I wanted a pair of sneakers that cost $45. It would have taken me forever to save $45. And my dad told me, well, if you want it so bad and you don't want to save for it, go get a job. So I did. I went and I became a clerical assistant, a messenger for a construction company. And actually, the manager of this construction company was a female, Miss Gloria. In Belize, that's odd because construction jobs are mostly done by males. So Miss Gloria, she was in command of all these men, and she wasn't tall. She was 5'6", and all these men were towering over her, and she is in charge. She was giving directions, telling them where to go, what to do, what their assignments are. And when they didn't do a good job, she scolded them. I was impressed. But at the end of every week, she had a case of beer for her employees. She had food, barbecue, rice and beans, stewed chicken. At the end of every week, Friday evening, there was a little social at her office for her employees. And I was impressed because during the week, I thought everyone hated her. But by the end of the week, everyone loved her again. She got all her projects completed. She got all her customers were happy with her. How did she do it? She did it by enforcing in her employees that there are no excuses, there's only results, and you do what you must to get the results. When an employee got sick, she took them to the hospital. When an employee was sad, she cheered them up. She was a woman for all seasons. So to this day, she is the best leader I have come across. Topic master.
That was really great, Edward. I assume you stopped being the timer for the sake of this particular session.
I was timing myself, but
Yeah.
I didn't get the chance to change the background.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, but it was a great speech, impromptu, but really seemed well prepared. I think that's the best kind of speech there can be. So that was awesome. Yeah. So who would like to volunteer next? If nobody volunteers, I'll have to start picking because, like Edward said, we should not get entrenched in any particular leadership style. So I'll become an authoritarian leader. So it's better if you
I can
volunteer.
go next.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amit. Uh, so your topic is what are your strengths as a manager, and you can give examples from your life. What are your strengths as a leader or a manager, and you can give examples from your life. Over to you, Amit.
Thank you, Table Topics Master. In my opinion, I think leadership is the best way to best way to lead in any situation. Um, if you so in my experience, I have always led by example. Whenever there's a situation where I feel that the team needs guidance and assistance, I try to put myself in their shoes and try to behave as I want them to behave. So basically, like I have been in teams which are spread across the different continents, and most of the time what has worked is if I work with the team at the same time as they are, like bring everybody on the same platform and try to solve the problem with them, try to like have somebody shadow while I am working on the problem and solving the problem. That really helps the team understand how somebody with the knowledge will actually go and solve the problem, and then that gives them a real life example on how somebody can go and solve problem at hand. So that's just one thing. And then but connecting personally with the team members, that always helps. When you make a personal connection with the team members, it really makes it really enhances the relationship you have with the team, and it puts you in a position where you can ask for more in a very like you it increases the reliance of the leader on their team when you have a personal connection with the individual team members. So that would be it. Back to you, table topics master.
That was great, Amit. Thank you. Leading by style and having a personal connection, they are really good strengths to have. And I'm happy and feel sort of proud that you exhibit those skills. So thank you. That was great. So who's next? Yeah, hi. Hi, Abu. So your topic is what are your weaknesses as a manager or a leader? So the counter topic to what Amit got, and you can again give examples from your life. What are your weaknesses as a leader? And you can use examples from your life. Over to you, Abu.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Wow, I feel like this question was like meant specifically for me, because while Toastmaster Edward was talking, I really loved what he said because I resonated with it, right? I have so many weaknesses as a leader. You see, I come from a family of 12, so I have 10 siblings. I have 10 siblings, yes, and I am the eldest. So I've been a leader all my life, right? I've been leading by example because I try to be a good person so that my siblings would follow suit and follow my example, right? But over the years, I developed the authoritarian leadership style. So I became an authoritarian figure, right? I like to instruct people, do this, do that, do this, do that. And then I started working, right? And working in this level, it requires you to be dynamic, right? So you learn to be diplomatic, you learn to be persuasive, you learn to be a space setter, you learn to be a coach. I had to pick up all of these traits along the way. But my weakness now is I didn't know when to do what. So I come to the office, my reporting lines, I am instructing them, do this, do that, right? Sometimes I go home, I'm married, by the way, so sometimes I relate with my wife and I try to be diplomatic when I'm supposed to be assertive, right? When I'm supposed to be assertive, I try to be diplomatic, right? So it was so confusing for me. I tried so hard to level things up. So I would say another weakness I have is I like to do things myself because I feel like if you don't do it yourself, it won't get done, right? That's a very terrible mindset to have. So in case you have that, please drop it. You have to learn to delegate, right? So along the way, I've learned to delegate a few things. I've learned to let go of a few things so that people can develop, right? So my biggest weakness is not knowing when to be what. But thanks to so many reminders, books, this was the Edward, even you, Anya, I am learning, right? So I look forward to I have a plan in the next 5 years. I like to see myself as a dynamic leader, and I look forward to actualizing that plan. Table topics master.
That was great, Abu. And weaknesses is always like a tougher question. So I'm glad you maneuvered around it really well. So that was great. Thank you. And who next? We have, I think, 3 people who haven't volunteered yet. So please raise your hand if you would like to speak. Yeah. Hi, Shehan.
Hi. So before I start, could you hear me properly? Because I think I'm having a bit of a connection issue.
No, I can hear you properly.
Oh, all right, good.
Yeah. So this is your question. When was the last time you gave someone constructive feedback and it backfired? In hindsight, what could you have done differently? So I'll repeat my question. When was the last time you gave someone constructive feedback and it backfired? In hindsight, what could you have done differently? Over to you, Shian.
I used to remember When I was back in school, I always learned that by evaluation, self-evaluation, you learn the best. That's the way that you learn and move forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, table topic master. Once, couple of months ago, I gave a constructive feedback to myself, and it backfired at me. All right, so this is something related to a competition that I attended recently. I was not planning, I was not doing anything, and I thought that I can do it. So I didn't think about it, and I thought that I have what it takes. So without any preparations, without doing anything, I went there and faced the challenge and got stuck. And then I told myself, you should have worked more. You should have done something better. You're not worthy. So you have to do something about it. Negative, but in a constructive way, because I wanted to construct it myself. I wanted to make it better. And then I realized sometimes it's okay to fail. I mean, if you don't fail, how could you learn? So if I didn't fail at that moment, I wouldn't know what life would bring me. So the constructive feedback that I was given to myself backfired, because if I did it in the perfect way, I don't know what life is not going to be perfect all the time. I won't learn that experiences will give me what the experiences would be. So I told myself that you have to be perfect all the sense. But then again, later I realized that it's not the case. It's okay to fail sometimes. And you need to realize that yourself. So I gave a self-criticism towards myself, and then it backfired within me, because I realized that it's okay to make mistakes, and that will give us the forward learning. Over to you.
That was great, Shian. Very enthusiastically spoken, and it all resonated with me. So that was a great one. Thank you. And now, who's next? Angela, would you like to go next? She's usually in there with her camera on, so I'm missing seeing you, Angela.
Here I am. Yes, I'm ready for the question.
Great. All right. So, the topic for you is, what is the rudest feedback you have ever received, and what do you think could have made it better? I'll repeat the question. What is the rudest feedback you have ever received? According to you, what could have made it better? Over to you, Angela.
This is a challenging idea, because when you're given rude feedback, you often tend to forget it. There are some people who forget it entirely, and there are others who brood on it for years and years and years and get suicidal over it. I'm not one of those, but I do think when I've been given harsh feedback, I tend to simply retire and not come straight back in and correct it. And yet I've seen so many other people who have started their Toastmasters journey, or possibly been Toastmaster of the evening, and been a disaster. And you think, oh, this person is dreadful. And then a year later, you can't believe it's the same person doing so well. And I remember one occasion when I was Toastmaster of the day, which is not a job I liked at all, because I'd like to do a constructive speech where I can plan it and know where I'm going. And somebody actually wrote me a letter and said that I was a hopeless Toastmaster of the day and I'd done it very badly. And I'd had lots of things going against me. We changed our venue. It was a meeting held in London over the school holidays. Members brought along their children who sat in the front row and started fights with each other, which was a total distraction. and the order had changed, and I didn't know who was speaking and what was going on, and I was not able to cope with this. Now, I think it would be really helpful to have a mentor running through every job you do if you're not confident or you don't want to do the job, which nearly always comes up to down to the same thing, because then you can run through it. And later on, I went to another club in Singapore. It was a lunchtime business club, and they had a Toastmaster of the Day speech or draft schedule, and it would say things like, we will now stop and have a photograph. Will you please cast your votes? And may I ask you to pin the timer? And so on. And that was really helpful. And I think if you have your leader as a president telling everyone what to do and running through it with them in advance, that is so helpful, and that would be much better than criticizing afterwards. Back to you.
It's always a pleasure listening to you, Angela, and this time was no different. Thank you so much. We have two people left who are yet to speak. Othman, if I'm saying the name right, is the person who joined recently. So who should I pick on? How about you, Mike? Would you like to go first?
Let me try. What's the topic?
Yeah, you'll do great. Don't worry. I'll give you an easy one. Share an example of a conflict you witnessed and help resolve. I'll repeat the question. Can you share an example of a conflict that you witnessed and then share how you help resolve it? Because conflict resolution is a part of leadership. Yeah, over to you, Mike.
Okay. I have a word not familiar. Conflict. Sorry, I will check the
Conflict, arguments.
Yeah, argument.
Have you seen an argument between two people?
Actually, if we find some people have an argument of conflict, I will disappear. So long time I haven't met this this situation. Can I change another topic?
Yeah.
Sorry for that.
Yeah. So is it okay if I give him another topic, Edward? I'm not sure if that's okay or not.
Normally, we would insist that they attempt the question, but we can make an exception and allow him to have another topic.
Okay. So, considering that you are not a confrontational person, I'll give you a topic which I think better suits you. Can you share an instance when your team member or someone else, if you haven't had a team, seemed demotivated or dejected? What did you do to help them out? Can you share an example of some instance when someone in your team or someone you knew felt demotivated and dejected, and what did you do to bring their spirits back up, to help them back on their feet?
Yeah. Hello everyone. This topic I think both my two master club president Angela help some new members about this section. Help them. Help them. She told the members must be confident to think about things, and happiness to learn from the good person. I'm sorry. Okay, just to talk about that. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Excellent job. Excellent job.
You did great. Don't worry.
Sometimes it's easier to talk about your children, because usually there's something simple that children do, like falling over, and you help them start again. When you don't want to, you can't think of anything going on at work. You think of something as a parent, and then that comes back to you. Just a tip for everybody.
Okay. My family and my family member maybe talk about that feel easier than other people. Okay. Thank you.
But you did great. Don't worry. It was awesome. Thank you, Mike. Finally, we have Othman. Hi. Am I saying your name right?
Yes, it's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's great to see you. Would you like to speak today?
No, don't prepare anything for just come a visitor and just a guest to know things
Okay.
always happen. I just want to discover this me.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Thank you for visiting and hope to have you here
Thank
back again. And
Thank you.
with that, I think we have covered everyone who wants to speak, Edward. So back to you.
Yes, excellent job. Excellent job, Toastmaster. And yeah, those questions were thought-provoking, had me reflecting back to my first job ever, and why to this day I still consider Miss Gloria one of the best boss or leader as I have had. I learned a lot from her. I learned when to be authoritative, when to be assertive, when to be compassionate, and how to coach. She was the first person that gave me an opportunity to do something no one else would. No one hires a 13-year-old, but Miss Gloria took a chance with me and taught me a lot. So thank you for bringing those memories back. Those were thought-provoking questions. Oftentimes we forget that being a leader also means being able to resolve conflicts. Most of the times we are mediators. Team members can get passionate. They both think they're right, or they both have a different idea of how to get it done. And then you must mediate between the two of them, calm them down, and come to a resolution. So we oftentimes forget that aspect of leadership, and that is something that we all must work on, being able to resolve conflicts. Normally it's referred to HR. The HR department deals with that. But as leaders, we must be able to bring our teammates together. Again, excellent job with the topics. They were thought-provoking, and they made us reflect on who we are and how we can become better leaders. A round of applause for our table topic master. Excellent job. Okay, guys, I will be putting the time report into the chat, and I will be opening a poll for us to vote on the best speaker this evening. But as we are at the end of the table topic session, we will take a 10-minute break, and then we will return for the prepared presentations.